Welcome everybody, my name is Michael or Kubera. Today we have two incredible stories where the first one I thought it was a hoax because I first saw it on Instagram and they were saying someone had over $140 billion or $200 billion locked up in Bitcoin. I thought that's like, that used to be more than half of the market. That's impossible. But it turns out that there was an error on that, and obviously that story was fake. But there is a real story of a employee from Ripple, a CTO. He has 2 password attempts left to recover a fortune that could be worth $1 billion in the future. Currently, it's going to be worth a few $100 million if Bitcoin keeps going back up. And then we have another story of an individual in the UK. We've heard stories like these before, but this individual has just remembered right now with the bull run. Every single bull run, you're gonna have these people. He threw out his hard drive with a lot of Bitcoins on him, and he's offering his counsel tens of millions of pounds to go looking for that hard drive. It's also worth over 100 million pounds. That's a lot of money. So my name is Michael or Kubera. Let us get into today's video. Absolutely crazy. First and foremost, before we get into these two wonderful characters, I just want to remind you that if you're making anything, a hot wallet, a cold storage wallet, always mark everything down on a piece of paper, then mark it down again, double check the passwords, double check the seed keys, double check that you have these files. If you have a hot or cold wallet, it still has to be connected to the internet at one point in time. And even if you're going to keep it offline, then when you try and sell it, you're going to have to connect to a computer that's online. So you still have to have the file, double check that it's backed up. The files through emails, the files somewhere safe online, because with just a file, you can't really do too much. But you keep your seed keys and the passwords offline, because if it's online, someone might be able to hack into it. And also keep a small amount in your hot wallet if you want to sell, if you want to trade with that. And most of your money, if it's over a few $1,000s, definitely have a cold storage wallet. If you don't have that, get it. By the way, Ledger and Trezor links down below. Woohoo, if you don't have it. I used to have a Ledger, but currently I don't own any cryptocurrency, so I don't really need it. In the future, yes, of course, I'm going to get one. And then keep track of your BTC from time to time. Don't be like these individuals that you forget about it for a few years and then you're like, oh, I don't know where my password is, or oh, I threw out my hard drive. Well, if it was backed up, you wouldn't care that you threw out your hard drive because it would be backed up. And I'm sure there's people who threw away their Bitcoins and had it backed up and were able to recover, thankfully. It really hurts to see when the price goes up and you know that a certain amount of money is locked away. I have technically right now, over $1,000 of Ethereum that was just lost to the ether space. That was from a few years ago. It used to be worth 300 bucks. That was the one and only time I forgot my password, and ever since then, it was a painful lesson, but I've learned my lesson. I sold that wallet with the key and everything for like $1 to a subscriber who said he'd want to hack into it, give it a go. The money's still there, so I guess he still doesn't have access to it, but hey, maybe one day. For $1 I sold it, so honestly, it's not too bad. So let's first begin with this Ripple employee. Stefan Thomas is an ex-Ripple CTO, Chief Technology Officer, where I'm sure he was getting paid probably a salary of a few $100,000 income, so he's not in a bad position. It just sucks that when you have an amount that's in a few $100 million and it's this opportunity cost where some people get really, really depressed. Listen, he has 2 opportunities to try and remember this password because he had 10 attempts total. He tried 8 so far. He wasn't able to get in, and he had over 7,002 BTC that was rewarded to him over a decade ago for making a cryptocurrency explanational video, which is still pretty crazy because that means at the time he said, I'm not sure why, he can't remember the exact amount, but between $2 and $6 per BTC. Meaning, if you do 2 times 7,000, that's 14 grand that he got paid. If it's all the way up to 6, that's a lot of money for a simple explanational video about cryptocurrency. Of course, that was a while ago, 2011, so the market was kind of new. He was probably an early investor, and you had to be experienced because not a lot of people knew what was going on at that time. The most I ever was paid for a single video was when we were overhyped, of course. Back in 2017, I was offered multiple times a few $1,000s per video. The most I've ever made was $8,000 from a single video, and of course with capital gains, that $8,000 turned into $30,000, but I didn't cash out then, and it dropped all the way down to like $16,000, $15,000. But still, I can definitely imagine getting paid $14,000 to $20,000, $25,000 for an explanational video, especially if you were a high-ranking member of Ripple. Didn't exist at that time, but still a high-ranking member of the cryptocurrency community. So his Bitcoin is stored at an Iron Key wallet, and he tried 8 times. He's pretty depressed about it. He was thinking a lot about his password and his most frequently used passwords in bed. I went through this process as well. I made a long list of how what I would use to try and get into my own Ethereum, and of course I'm sure that he's panicked, because with only 2 attempts left, there is a very high probability that he won't have access to this, and of course that Bitcoin will be lost forever in the Ether space. 7,002 BTC is currently worth, at today's price, of just under $40,000, where we did break above $40,000 and the all-time high of $42,000 last week. 7,002 BTC is worth, oh man, this is an eye-watering amount, over $276,051,400, and it's swiftly approaching over $300 million. In the future, it might be worth even $1 billion if Bitcoin continues to rise, as it has with these constant bull market and bear market cycles. In a few years' time, Bitcoin, if not this time around, Bitcoin will go eventually above $100,000. And it's just going to be painful. So I actually know a subscriber of mine who back then in 2018 lost around what was it, $70,000 worth of Bitcoins, and now the amount is well above $100,000, maybe even approaching $150,000. And he paid for services to try and hack into it, but as we all know, if you lose your passwords, where a lot of these wallets remind you not to, you got to remember about all this stuff, there's no way to recover it, at least not now with the technology that we have. The only way you could recover it in the future, if there's unlimited attempts, of course, is try brute forcing and try every single password you can, where just using the technology that we have right now, it's going to take a few thousand years for some of these wallets, because it's very, very difficult. So Stefan Thomas, for right now, is just leaving it where it is. He's hanging on to this hope. I'm sure that he's got a fair amount of money, but this is a life-changing amount of money. It's basically like playing the lottery at this point in time. The longer he thinks about it, though, maybe he's never going to get to these 10 passwords. Maybe right before death he's going to try and crack into it. But the longer he thinks about it, at least in my opinion, I think it would be worse, because there's no technology to try and get into it right now. And I don't think within our lifetime there will be some way to access that. So the only way is keep trying. Well, best of luck to you, Stefan Thomas. And now we move over to an individual where in GBP, in Great British Pound Sterling, he's trying to pay his council, his local board, his local community, whatever you call it, his county. Britain has some interesting system. I know that around 30% of my viewers are from the UK, so welcome. Hi, guys. A UK IT engineer, a software engineer, has around 210 million pounds worth of Bitcoin, over 7,500 BTC, which is very interesting. He bought this in 2013. So in some ways, it's similar to Stefan Thomas, and he's offering a reward that's currently worth $72 million to his local council. He lives in Wales. Now, the council is thinking about this. He's offering 25% of what is on the wallet, because he's tried to go to the landfill where he thinks the hard drive is located at, and he's tried to get permission to dig there. Now, how he would dig there, how you could go through, I don't know how long this would take, but probably it's a job that could even last up to a few years, and it would cost maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to dig through all this trash, and it's been years. It's 2021, so he lost it years back. He threw it out by mistake, which, oh my goodness, guys. I've never thrown out a hard drive of mine, ever. I always hang on to them. And even I didn't have Bitcoin, but I just hang on to them just in case I had some videos or some cool images, or even if it was a corrupted hard drive, I just held on to the hope, oh yeah, in the future I'm gonna have more money, so I'm gonna pay for somebody to try and recover something from it. And these are just videos that are probably dear to me, where in reality these are probably stupid videos of me playing video games years back that have no value whatsoever compared to these Bitcoins. But the council is debating about this because it's a lot of money, and he said that it could go to the local COVID relief fund. However, who's going to pay for this digging? How would you go about it? How could you even plan for this, the strategy? They do have the power to override that. Yes, they're able to go through this landfill and try and find it, but even if they did find the hard drive, there's also the issue of what if you can't recover it? What if it's destroyed beyond belief? And there's a lot of issues here. First of all, if they did find it, they have the wallet, but does he remember the password? Does he remember the seed keys? I'm pretty sure he does, since, I mean, why would you even complain about this stuff? Because then it's even harder than Stefan Thomas's position. But if he does have this, I think there's a higher possibility of finding it. I would not give up myself as well. I'd probably do a crowdfunding. If the council didn't agree, I'd try and make a YouTube channel, make it my life's mission to try and get that, because I don't think there's another opportunity like that. Sure, as an IT engineer, he's probably getting paid, you know, over £100,000 or close to it every single year, especially if he's got years of experience. But even if he becomes a millionaire, that's multi-millions that in the future, this $288 million, which is now like closer to $300 million, this money is going to go to $1 billion if Bitcoin goes above, just like with Stefan Thomas's. So this is an opportunity. This is, again, like the lottery, although in this case, it's a little bit higher possibility. So there's something that you can do. It's not like it's just going to get lost to the ether space. So that's that. What do you think about these two stories? There's not much more information than that. It's just, it is what it is. It's definitely a dirty job. I don't know right now if I'd want to go dig through a landfill, but honestly, if I lived in Wales, maybe I'd help this guy out. Maybe I'd be one of the first volunteers to try and dig through it for like a percentage or even less than a single percent. But still, maybe there's a chance. Who knows? I wish him the best of luck, and there's been many cases like this over the years. So obviously millions of people are just fine with their wallets, and millions of people are able to recover their money. And some people are going to say, oh, you know, this is less secure than a bank, but not fully, because there's a lot of people who, in America at least, it's up to $250,000. If anything happens and you have, let's say, $1 million in the bank, and obviously it's a lot less money than we're talking about here, but if anything happens to this bank and the FDIC is insuring up to $250,000, a lot of people don't know that the extra $750,000 is lost. So that's that. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and check out my other secondary channel where we also discuss about cryptocurrency. So see you guys in the next video. Bye, 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 bye.